Now got Phillip Krawitz, he's the CEO of Cape Union Mart, joining us from Cape Town. Phillip, give us a sense of the mood in Cape Town right now.
I think there's a mood of sadness. I think people are somber, but I certainly think that people are hopeful that the legacy of Mandela will continue and that we, the citizens of South Africa, will honour him by living that legacy.
Can you give us a little detail around your first meeting with Mandela?
Oh, of course. I was president of the Cape Town Chamber of Commerce and had done the unthinkable in those days in the 1980s by calling for the release of Nelson Mandela and the unbanning of the ANC. And Mandela was a man who never forgot anybody, and he accepted an invitation to address our chamber shortly after he was released from prison. He came, he sat down with us, and the first thing that struck me was his dignity and his humility. The unbelievably polite Nelson Mandela was a man who honoured every individual, and I think his respect for the sanctity of every human being is something that I will certainly remember as one of his greatest gifts to this country. I was invited on many occasions to Tynhuis, where we sat with dignitaries, kings and queens. I of course remember when Queen Elizabeth visited Parliament, and Mandela was there greeting her, came out into the streets, and everybody thought everyone would rush to see the Queen, and the whole crowd only wanted to see Mandela. And on many occasions at Tynhuis, where we would go for dinner, the first thing he would do is to ensure that everybody, but everybody, was respected and treated equally. He would of course welcome his guests, but more importantly, he would greet every waiter and thank them for their service that night. He would go up to the little room at the top where the choir children were singing, and he would dance with them and thank them for their role. He never forgot any human being at any occasion. And I think, you know, the proverbial question of, are you able to dine with kings and walk with beggars? And I think that that is exactly what Mandela was, and I think it's why we all love him so much. It was his innate belief in the goodness of people and in respect for humanity.
Because that reminds me of a story from the World Economic Forum where Bill Clinton walks on, makes a speech, gets a standing ovation, Tony Blair follows, another speech, standing ovation, and then Mandela walks on, doesn't say a word, gets a standing ovation as well. So what do you think it is about him that charisma and that personality that captivated people all those years?
Well, I have to say that one of the most engaging things about Mandela was his unbelievable smile. I was also privileged to be a director of the Cape Town 2004 Olympic bid, and he came with us to Switzerland to plead on behalf of Cape Town. And wherever he went, he walked in with that broad smile of his, and people were just melting in the wake of that smile. He would look people directly in the eye. He would shake their hand. Whenever Mandela took your hand, it was never one hand. He always took your hand with both hands. I remember taking one of my daughters to meet him at Tynhuis, and he reached out, shook her hand warmly, and turned around to her and said, "Oh, Amanda, it is such an honor for me to meet you. I'm not going to wash my hands tonight." That was Mandela. He had the charm, the charisma, born out of quiet confidence, born out of the knowledge that he had the means to bring about so much change in this country, but yet the humility to realize that he was just a human being. And I think that those are the lessons that we often forget. We forget to treat each other with humility and with respect for one another. You know, I think that there are many people who were predicting the day after Mandela's death, bloodbath in South Africa. That, I believe, is such a tragic thought to even contemplate, because what Mandela showed was his belief in the South African people, black and white and English and Afrikaans and
Phillip
Jew and
Krawitz,
Gentile, and straight and gay
CEO of
to come
Cape
together.
Union Mart, joining us from Cape Town. Thank you very much indeed for your insight.